All right, so I'm gonna try to do a good summary. When we met last time, about a month ago, the session started with the three of us meeting up after talking to our respective Lords Commander. Things went really well for Ren, talking to Barnabas, and Ren feels. Oh, you can't hear me? Yep. Bronwyn can't hear me. You, Ben, do you want to talk? Can you hear Ben, Bronwyn?
Okay.
Do you want to try leaving? Come. Someone tell Bronwyn to leave and come back.
Asher, say something.
Hi.
Now I hear you. What the
Yay.
fuck?
That was
That's
so weird.
Okay, can
okay.
we talk about how my Discord very specifically does not like you?
Uh, That's
Yeah. And I'm even on desktop
yeah.
Discord now. Like I'm on Windows. And it's the desktop Discord app, so me and Ben and Jenny all have this same setup. And yet your Discord still hates me.
Yeah, you specifically. Like, it doesn't hate the other two.
It's dumb.
You're the one I can never see. You're the one I couldn't hear. Like, the whole thing is just anti you.
It's rude.
Hmm.
I wonder if it's your IT department specifically was like, fuck that person.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it was.
I have the stream pulled up,
Okay.
and it's okay. Everyone sounds good. Ben, talk.
Hello, hello, hello.
Everyone sounds good.
Awesome. Uh, Streamlabs had once again decided that my mic was not my headset mic, so I had to turn that back on. Um, Glad we caught that before we did anything. Um, so run it again.
Okay, so last time we met, we started the session with the party meeting back up after talking to our respective Lords Commander, and we debriefed on how it went. Ren, things went well, very well with Barnabas. Ren feels that Barnabas might be persuaded to our cause in some way or another. Henry's went okay. He feels that he made some progress with Umber, but isn't sure one way or the other. And things did not go well with Call and Lord Commander Ryan. Lord Commander Ryan essentially told Call, "Why are you speaking to someone so high above you? Get out." So we weren't sure what we were going to do next, but we were most likely going to start talking to the other members of the council. And then also try to follow up again with Umber and Barnabas to try and continue along to persuade them to coup with us. Um, we also talked about how though we are in the middle of coup planning, we need to appear as if we are still pursuing the light hand since that is our official mission. And so Call and Ren walked around the market district and the rent district and the industrial district and it saw fewer light hands members than normal and they did not get any sense that they were being followed. They also saw Kina, the little tiefling girl who is part of the light hands, but she was talking with some other kids and did not get a chance to talk to Call. Henry went and talked to Captain Ryan, captain of the city guard, who is our best lead for starting the coup ASAP because he will have the largest force in the city once everyone leaves in a couple days. So there was some progress there. Henry was not very explicit, was kind of scared to say too much, but Henry did notice that Captain Ryan might be amenable to seizing more power, specifically for maybe getting more troops and more resources, because he saw a paper on Captain Ryan's desk that he was denied some resources that he needs to protect the city. Henry also went to a tavern and met up with a friend, Kurt, who is a 3 foot tall Harengon man and a bard. Henry showed Kurt around the city in preparation for Kurt meeting up with some friends of dubious nature, or not dubious, of unsure nature or anything going on with that. Um, but Henry has a new friend. Um, Hall plans to seek out Sir Havish to try and gain some rapport with him. He is the steward, I believe. No,
Sensational.
he's
Seneschal, yeah.
seneschal. Uh, Ren plans to talk to Barnabas tomorrow about coup things. And I think my favorite part of the session last time was Ren talked to Jax, who is a bard in the dozen, and ended up playing Jax's lute. And they became, good. They became friends. I think Ren rolled the nat 20 or some crazy high roll, and they have very much the starting of friendship and the starting of Ren learning to play more music that he already knows. Um, Call was going to ask Jax about Lady O'Corrent for some reason that I'll look up later, but forgets to do it that evening. Um, and um, Ren gives Jax a call doesn't need to know I was here expression. And that's the last thing that I've written.
Alrighty. So, um, did we? Are there any time of day stamps in there? It's been a while. I don't remember when we left off.
Let me look. I think we left off in the evening
In the
because I
evening?
also have Henry waits until the evening and does sending since
Okay.
he had did the day before.
Okay. And just so anybody keeping track knows, um, we did have an off session little planning thing, which I'm going to say we can just fit in into this evening, where the party got together and just threw out some ideas and such. And also, Ren sketchily has access to the Sphere of Silence spell. Um, or not sketchily, but like maybe does, maybe doesn't because of getting rid of other spells. We'll see. Um, so, I guess we can just pick up that evening. Did we do sending for that night?
Remember.
I mean, actually, we did. The last thing that I have in my notes is
Oh,
Bennett's
right,
response. So,
because you killed me. You killed me with his
haven't I done that
response.
with every single one of Bennett's?
This one is worse.
This one was pretty bad. Um, anyway, um, so I guess we'll pick up that morning then. Um, unless somebody had something they want to do in the middle of the night. Nope. Okay, so that morning, Y'all come to consciousness, and what are we doing?
When we talked last night about plans, do we want to say that we decided to meet up the next morning?
That's entirely logical.
Sure. Jesus, I can't speak. I guess that means that my opinion should not be counted right now because I can't talk.
Um, well, I think we would have talked about like what we wanted to do today. Henry would want to go and see Captain Ryan again, and would probably just kind of go like starting a little after lunchtime would probably go around some taverns to try and see the other people. And I know Ren wanted to talk to Barnabas. Do we have anything else?
Um, Call wanted to kind of spend a good chunk of the day on the training fields trying to act do actual training and also talk to the seneschal.
Okay. Um, well, Call is the early bird of the group, so let's start there. Actually, it would be fairly easy to find some training partners in the courtyard. Especially right now, it kind of seems like even people that don't always that aren't always training are now in preparation for the excursion that is upcoming. Um, so to start with, give me um, athletics or acrobatics, your choice.
Oh well, I mean, if it's my choice, I'm absolutely gonna go acrobatics.
All right, go for it.
All right, let's see if Call's dice like me today. That would be a 23.
23. All right. So you are putting on a bit of a show in training. Not multiple opponents at once, but like through multiple opponents that you're kind of just putting on their ass. Um, and I would assume that you are kind of staying in the area that you saw Sir Havish the day before.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so you're kind of. You tell me, are you showing off or are you just being efficient?
A little bit of showing off.
Okay.
Mostly because Call doesn't want to entirely blend in with
Mm-hmm.
everybody else.
That makes sense. Um, okay. Well, uh, um, okay. Um, so Sir Havish is also, deep in training. He's paying attention to his opponents, and he does fairly regularly take on two or three opponents, but it does seem like he is like training them as compared to he's just so good that he fights so many opponents. Like they look like they're not fully trained yet. So he is teaching them rather than
He's being helpful.
just sparring with multiple opponents because he's that good. Um, but he seems a little bit caught up with what he's doing.
Okay. Um, Perhaps a boring response, but I think Call is going to for a while at least, continue training because that is also a genuine goal of theirs and not just a mission aspect.
All right.
Um,
Real quick, give me a Constitution saving throw
okay.
because you've been doing this pretty regularly.
15.
All right. You pass. So you can feel like you are getting a little tired. You've been working hard the past few days, specifically physically training hard. And you can feel that like coming on a little bit, but it's not slowing you down. You're not aching or anything. Um, you've got it. You've got it under wraps. Um, okay. So are you going to do anything to try and get Sir Havish's attention?
I think so. If Sir Havish is, uh, if there doesn't just organically come an opportunity for Call to, uh, start up a conversation, I think Call's eventually going to just straight up approach in between, rounds and ask if, he would not mind, uh, sparring with them for a round for some training themselves.
Okay. So as he sees you approach, he's kind of in the middle of like instructing people, just kind of like shouting instructions, a whole lot of keep your shield up. Um, but as you approach, he kind of looks you over a little bit. Um, just real quick. Okay. Um, and he kind of notices. I assume you're wearing like your regular kind of store guard greeny setup.
Yep.
Okay. Um, so he can tell you apart from a recruit because you have your brooch and aren't wearing like uh you aren't wearing the clothes of a recruit. So as he sees you approach, he kind of doesn't salute, but like gives you like a head lean back, um, and he says, "Can I help you with anything?"
Yes, sir. I'm trying to, sorry. I'm trying to, I don't think Call would hesitate as much. I just brain. Um, I'm working on my skills in direct combat, and it looks like you're giving instruction. Was wondering if I may steal your attention for a round.
Um, give me a persuasion check.
Okay. That would be a 24.
Okay. Just decimating the low DCs. Um, so he kind of looks you over for a second and then looks at his little group of trainees and says, uh, I think that they've seen enough of heavy attackers against heavy attackers. Let's teach them how different opponents could act." Um, and he just settles into a fighting stance.
Awesome. Okay. Um, Call will do the same.
Okay, so rather than like run combat of you fighting him, um, he's kind of trying to instruct, and every once in a while, when like y'all break apart for a second, he will, while keeping his guard up, like shout instructions and like tell them to watch stuff. So what I want from you is just give me a dexterity check. So just d20 plus dex.
Okay. Uh, that's only 12.
All right. But still, you do pretty well as he is like charging at you, you use the fact that you are more lightly armored and just kind of a little bit of a faster person than he is. You're able to just like dodge out of the way without really even having to get in close and block his strikes. So now just roll an attack roll with whatever melee weapon you would be using in this situation.
All right. Can do on that. Let's see. That would be... My attack would be a 24 to hit.
He puts on an excellent display of defending himself, but you are still able to get a touch on the gap of where his armor is. Like, it was hard for you to do, but you managed to just barely touch an unarmored portion of his body. And he kind of gives you a little nod, and then he explains what he did wrong and what you did right to make it happen. And there is you notice there's slightly more of a crowd than just his trainees as he's doing that. Once again, give me a dexterity check.
Absolutely. That is a much lower dex check. That is a 9.
Once again, he goes on the attack, and you have to you actually have to block a few of the strikes, and after a couple of blocks, just the weight of his longsword hitting against, I assume you're using a dagger.
Mm-hmm.
The weight of his longsword hitting against it knocks it out of your hand.
Good job.
And then he like levels his sword at you for a second, then pulls back and starts once again explaining what he did right, what you did wrong. Explains how like you set a foot wrong and how your grip was slightly off as you were going to block, and that's how it happened the way it did. One more time, give me an attack roll.
That was a nat 20.
After feeling a little embarrassed that you were disarmed, you go heavily on the attack, and even though he is doing his damnedest to try and keep you back and away, he tries to do a little flourish to throw you off guard, but rather than it throwing you off guard, you see it coming, dash in under his block, and return the favor, bringing your dagger behind his longsword and jerking down on it, and it flings out of his grasp. And with that, he backs off, kind of panting, and gives you like a long look of just pure surprise, because let's be honest, he's not used to getting his sword knocked out of his hand. And so he just looks at you stunned for a second, and then nods, and kind of shifts his shield a little bit to free his hand, and just starts applauding you, and his whole little gaggle and the extra spectators do as well.
Fuck yeah.
And the next time I ask you to make a persuasion check for him, roll it with advantage.
Fuck
or
yeah.
a charisma-based check with him. Roll it with
Okay.
advantage.
We'd love to see it.
I mean, this guy puts a lot of stock in martial ability, and you just knocked his sword out of his hand.
Fair.
All right. So, with that, he kind of dismisses his group, and comes and asks you a few just like general fighting questions, like technique and shit. But you have an opening if you would like to just speak to him.
I think Call is going to speak largely about, technique, practice, etc., etc. But as their, conversation is dying down, I think Call's going to ask if there is another opportunity where he can snag the Seneschal's time to practice.
Today, or what? When were you hoping for?
Um, Today or tomorrow would be ideal, but later in the week will work if that's, if I understand you're busy.
He kind of looks up at the sun for a second and says, uh, I should be free this evening, and you'll find me on the field anytime, or not anytime. You'll find me on the field every morning and most evenings as well. And I would be happy to ensure that you don't. He kind of gestures to where the ground is still. There's like a slice in the grass from where his sword hit the ground. And he said, I'd be happy to make sure that never happens again.
Excellent. Okay. Um, I think Call is gonna try basically just kind of take this victory of communication for what it is and isn't gonna push their luck. Um, they're gonna try and do some more conversation in the evening. So I think as the conversation dies, Call will gracefully exit.
As you leave, you have stupid passive perception, so you do notice that he doesn't stay on the field. He heads into the main hall of the keep. Like that wouldn't have taken a high perception, and you have 25. So, moving on. Who would like to go next?
I guess Ren will. I am like getting heart palpitations. I am so nervous about that. Okay.
You're gonna do great.
Okay. I write scripts. I try and get my words straight beforehand, and I still can't get them right. Okay. All right. So yeah, I guess what time in the morning is it?
Um, I mean, it could be any time that you want it to be. Honestly, Call's training with Sir Havish probably went till almost 10 a.m. So it would be before that, or right at.
I guess if Ren usually sees Master Barnabas around like, I think I remember 8 or 9 in the morning is when he usually visits. I think he'll just go for his increasingly frequent morning visit.
All right.
Okay. It just occurred to me he should bring pastries, but no, we're not gonna do that right now. But yeah, so Ren will go knock on the door.
Okay. You just hear his voice from inside as he calls out, "Enter."
Ren does so, and shuts the door behind him and does usual kind of little, just greeting, walking in, finding his seat.
Barnabas is at his desk standing. He has all sorts of different papers kind of laid out. He's rather orderly in his own way. Sometimes his desk will get messy because he has lots to deal with. But you can very clearly see 3 different piles of documents of some kind that he seems to be sorting in some way.
Okay. Ren is going to he's kind of worried that Master Barnabas is gonna just think more and more like, oh no, this kid is too much trouble. But he's he's gonna ask, Master Barnabas, can I ask you something?
Um,
Like with that kind of like in private kind of face.
uh,
So
he kind of his head stays staring at his papers, and he kind of just like looks up at you. Um, and you see a familiar hand gesture, and a slow emittance of green light from a scabbard that is actually closer to you than him, as it is hung across the back of his like ornate chair that's custom designed for him. But you can see the green light glow from one of the swords as all sound from outside, the clash of arms that you can hear even this high up, just fades away.
I am obsessed with those swords and I want to know more about them. Um, okay. Ren is a lot better spoken than Jenny is. Ren has 18 charisma, Jenny does not. Okay.
Remember, if you want to just say the gist, I'll have you roll for it. If you can say it yourself, I will take it at face value.
I'll try and work on the latter a little bit.
Okay.
So Ren is going to start with, can I ask you a little bit more about current events?
Barnabas is holding two different papers, and he kind of makes a little face and then like crosses his arms to set them in two of the piles, and then looks up at you and says, "Of course."
I have voiced some of my concerns to you before, and I can't stop thinking about the execution. It was disturbing to me, and I'm wondering how many other people feel the same way. It occurred to me though that Count Ander is currently under a lot of pressure. We have gnolls appearing, we have kobolds appearing all of a sudden, and putting it into context, I kind of realized the strain that he must be under right now with all of these threats appearing, and I can only guess that he takes it as a threat to his family's legacy. But it makes me wonder, if I may ask, if these same sorts of problems were happening, and then with Count Anders' handling of Fist and that situation, do you think the former Count Stores would have done similarly to what he's doing now?
The whole time you're speaking, Barnabas has this very thoughtful, like, I am paying attention. You know the look very well of, like, he is fully absorbing everything you're saying. And then at the end, with that question, it's odd because you don't, like, see his face change into this different expression, but you kind of take a second and realize that it is now a very different kind of thoughtful. It is reminiscing and still a deep thought. And he somewhat slowly says, "Oh no, I forget the names of my NPCs all the time." Crud. I believe Count Arthur is the name I am looking for, but give me one second. If only I could remember the names of my own NPCs.
Who does that? No one needs to do that.
Is it someone we know? Can we help you figure it out?
Yeah, it's Andrew's dad. I've
Arthur.
Yeah, it is Arthur. Okay. Um, so he says, Count Arthur ruled but a short time and focused on doing as his father did. He was a sickly man and was the youngest of his family and took the death of his brothers very hard. I don't believe he would have acted as Ander has, but I also don't believe that I don't necessarily believe that his actions would have been better. Store was strong. Give me a persuasion check real quick.
Okay. Where's Ren's die? Where's Ren's die? Here's Ren's die. That is a nat 20.
Okay.
I'm going to start rolling on camera. I will move my webcam now.
Hey, I believe you.
Okay.
I believe you. A good fucking nat 20
never
though.
doubt.
A good fucking nat 20.
I love this die.
When it was called for, Store was quick with the axe. But he was just. I truly believe that none who received that fate by his order did not deserve it. Few received it by not his own hand. I believe that Ander was overly hasty in his conviction. We reward nat 20s here. I promised Store many things. As a human, we both knew it was likely that I would outlive him by many years. He asked me to protect his family. He asked me to protect what he had made. And he asked me to continue improving what he had done. Recently, I find it difficult to perform all of those promises, as I worry that some of them have begun to conflict.
You are one of Count Ander's advisors, correct?
He just nods.
Does he seem to receive counsel well, or does he take it into account much?
I believe there is something in him that he values above the advice of his counselors. True leaders have that quality. They take their advisors into account, and then they make a decision, and it rarely is purely what an advisor told them. It is a good quality in a leader. When it is done well, when the advisors are listened to and heard, it is a good quality. I fear that Ander is too afraid of making the wrong decision to search for the right one. I will have to quote his aunt in Be bold and take action. He has probably heard that sentence more times than his own name.
We put that in the quotes. Barnabas is well spoken. We love him.
We love him.
Please stop me if you feel that I'm being too presumptuous. I've gotten the impression from my first day in court that Count Ander's advisors do not feel very heard. I am a servant of the city. I'm part of the Mage Corps. And it is personally important to me to do justice to that job. And I personally place a great deal of importance on protecting people who especially are at a risk of being misunderstood. Or people who may have had certain preconceptions aligned against them. And so I've only been in the city for a year, but I am worried about what I've seen, and I get the feeling that I'm not the only one. And this climate of frustration and tension I don't. I feel I can be frank with you, and I don't think either of us want to deny that that's happening if we're being serious. Um, and I look up to you. You are possibly the most capable and competent person I know, and still I worry for you. And I don't envy your position. Count Store sounded like an incredibly honorable man, and I do hope that you can keep your promises to him. This is to say, I do wonder about, I suppose, the balance of power and decision making in Count Ander, between Count Ander and his council. Um, do you think that he would benefit from, I suppose, stronger guidance away from the more reckless and fear-based decisions that he's been making?
Okay. This is DM speaking. Um,
Okay.
you've done it in a roundabout way, but this is, I mean, you've made the ask. Okay.
Yes.
So I need, if I had a box of doom, we'd be rolling it in a box of doom. But I'm going to need a persuasion check.
Okay. That is a 19 plus whatever Ren's persuasion is. 7. That's a 26.
All right.
Fucking get it!
Get it, Jenny.
20.
Go
There's a
get it!
26. Okay.
It is a 26.
I'm going to read to you my little listing of the DC for Barnabas.
Okay.
So I wrote so for reference, this first line is if you walked up to him and said, "Hey, do you want to take some power away from Ander?" With no preface. He would see it as betraying his old friend who he promised that he would look after his family to. In that case, the DC was going to be 23. I then wrote, if the party can make him see that Ander is leading Stor's house and legacy to ruin, the DC is 14. You almost doubled the effective DC for this roll. Because you rather effectively brought him around to seeing that Ander was not and the snap dance goes. So
I want to add that I was saving my inspiration point for shit like this, and I am so smug that I've not had to use it.
it would have been a good time to use it, if necessary. I'm not going to tell you who him being on your side is going to affect, and you don't get to know that. But back in character, Barnabas closes his eyes and seems to deflate a little bit. His hands go onto his desk heavily, like there's a thump. And he stays quiet for a little while. And then he looks back at you and he says, I feel that you were worried to have an opinion on this matter. because you feel you haven't been here long enough.
Opinions have also been dangerous things to have lately, I've noticed.
He just kind of slowly nods and says, that being the case should have been enough for me to not have needed my student to tell me that action was necessary.
Ren is emotionally preparing for execution right now.
It is very clear to me now that my long standing in this city has been like a blindfold to its issues. And you, having been here for a year, could see them and were convicted enough to come to the person you claimed to be possibly the most powerful person you knew and ask for change. He takes a slow breath, and that demeanor of looking deflated goes away a little bit. Like he certainly doesn't look chipper, but he looks determined. And he says, there is precedent and there is procedure that must be followed. You are the one who claimed that I am clever. I do know that I am likely not the only person being approached about this. I don't. He kind of, you know what? He's gonna roll for it. He's gonna roll for it real quick. Where's your damn dice, Barnabas?
I do want to make sure that it's clear. Ren has not lied about anything. He's
Right?
completely serious. There's no false flattery or anything.
Absolutely. That's not what this is about.
Yeah,
However, I'm going to ask for deception because I know that you are not attempting to give away your friends or any other people and anyone else involved in this endeavor. I know you're not trying to give that away freely, so I'm going to ask for a deception roll from you.
Okay. That is a 15 plus 7 is 22. Ren's not even trying very hard to lie to him. When Barnabas said that, Ren basically assumed, yeah, he knows everything now. But
what did you say? You're
22.
22. He beats that. And he says, understand, I do not expect this from you. But if the decision comes down to things staying the way they are, or and are coming to harm, I will back him. There is a hard determination in his eyes as he says it.
Ren does not look surprised. He accepts this.
Now, aside from that, I will also not attempt this on my own. I will help you gather support because I believe that this is the right thing to do. But if no other members of the council will also join in this effort, then then all I could assume is that my insights are wrong. And that my vision is somehow clouded. That being said, as I said, I believe this is right, and I will put my assistance towards helping with the other members of the council. I will spend some time thinking on this and preparing, and then I would like to work with you and those others who may be involved in determining, to put it bluntly, the next target.
Would you like for us to meet with you at some point soon?
You hear the bell tower tolling 9, and he thinks for a moment and says, "This evening, sometime after 6th bell, bring them here, and we will speak."
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I do have other matters that I must attend to now. And you see a very light flash that kind of feels like light being sucked in from the green scabbard. And the sounds of the outside return, and he looks as if there are almost tears in his eyes, but he gives you a somewhat low bow, and gestures to the door.
Ren bows lower and leaves. And he's probably gonna go try to find either Call or Henry.
All right.
At this time, Call is probably still busy, so I'm wondering if he would
It
find
wouldn't
Henry
be
at all.
hard to find them, though.
Yeah.
So what was Henry doing this morning?
If the plan was for Ren to talk to Barnabas in the morning, I think Henry would have waited to go do anything to hear back. Like, though he does want to, and then also Call was gonna ask Jax about where the taverns that the other two would go to. And so rather than just try to like go off and do something, he was just gonna wait around before doing business. That said, I think he does write a note to the Hearts to ask to meet for breakfast the next morning.
Okay.
And then I think he probably goes and eats breakfast and then goes to the courtyard.
All right.
There's nothing too exciting.
So Ren, you find Henry in the courtyard as you come down after this entirely uneventful conversation.
Yes, it was entirely uneventful, and Ren looks very, very calm right now. So not like full of adrenaline or anything. And yeah, he'll sit down with Henry. And I picture him kind of like gripping Henry's hand for a second, like he needs it to calm down. It went well. Good morning, Henry. Also, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. I am well, thank you. I want to hear all about it and it kind of looks around like, not here, but I'm glad it went well.
Um, real quick, Henry, give me a perception check.
Well, what are my stats? I don't remember. Um, that's a 12.
Okay. Um, yeah. Continue.
Um, yeah.
Does Ren need a perception check?
No,
Okay.
it was that Henry took a look around, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, uh, my instinct is that Henry would take something out of his pocket to help Ren calm down, like probably like a fidget toy, or like something soft, like a soft bit of like leather or fabric or something, and it's like, here.
Ren fiddles with it. Any big plans for the day?
Um, again, looking around, more as like a show to like, hey, there's things I'm not saying. He wants to convey that to Ren. He says, I might go out, um, to some taverns to hang out, depending. I also might just practice in the yard or, just kind of mill about. I don't have anything super exciting planned for the day. What about you? What do you have planned for today?
Not much. Let's see if we can get call for lunch.
Okay.
So yeah, Ren might go. I don't know. No.
About when would call be wrapping up with Sir Havish?
Said 10 a.m.
Okay.
So y'all aren't there like super long. If y'all
So
if you choose to wait.
do we get to see the disarming and
Yeah, the way the timing works
yeah.
out, yeah. After y'all have your nervous talk for a little bit, Ren is panicking.
Nice, huh?
After y'all have your nervous talk for a little bit, y'all would know that that's what Call was planning to do. So, also being a little antsy to talk to Call, y'all might try to go find them. And we would see. I would say that they've already started their training bout. I'd say y'all actually approach as Call gets disarmed, and then somewhat shortly after kicks ass.
Y'all get to watch one of Call's proudest moments.
uh, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Call, even with your 25 fucking passive perception, too caught up in the task that you are completing to notice that they're watching, so you don't, just so that you don't try to cut off your conversation any earlier.
I fully agree with you. I wasn't gonna say otherwise.
Yeah, just for my own, for me.
Henry is definitely holding Ren's hand the whole time from when they stand up, and then whenever they have a pod call, I think Henry kind of like stands even closer to Ren of like, I am here, I am Rock if you need something to lean on, kind of body language. Because these are real weapons that Call is using.
I think by the end of Call's training, Ren still looks just as calm.
Henry knows Ren and is just like doesn't look worried, but it just like maintains standing there of like, I am here.
He's doing good. He's fine.
Ren's fine.
Call's doing great. Henry's doing great. Yeah. So yeah. Um, all of that goes very well, I guess. We're having a good morning, guys. Um,
I'd say it's a rather successful one.
Mhm.
All right. So do they try at all to approach Call afterwards when it's clear that Call has not noticed they're there?
Once Havish kind of leaves, or once they kind of the two of them part ways, we would definitely go up and approach Call.
All right.
Uh, hey, that was amazing.
Christ, you were there for that? Or not Christ, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we came up right as you were disarmed and then watched you kick ass.
I got a lucky hit in. I definitely got a lucky hit in.
You're also very skilled, but
Thank you.
yeah.
that was very impressive.
Thank you. Call seems to preen slightly, I think. Call is not immune to flattery. So,
Well, yeah.
hmm?
Um, well, should we get lunch and take it up to Ren's room?
Oh, sure.
Right. Is that what you were thinking, Ren?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm assuming we get lunch close by, maybe like at the university, one of the stalls there, and then go up to Ren's room.
All right. Um, I'm just gonna for now. Ren, just mark off a second level spell when um, when you want to cast it, and we'll work out how you have it later.
Okay. Because what I did, you said that I give up one of my spells, I get that one. So I got rid of sleep because it has not been helpful. So he
All right.
has Circle of Silence now, instead. So I was just about to say he's gonna use his shiny new spell once they get to Ren's room.
All right.
And so yeah, Ren gets to show off and do the little everything is
Whoosh.
quiet sound. So yeah. Um we can talk a little bit more freely. Um he lets them know once they're all in his room. I spoke with Master Barnabas. It went very well.
Wonderful. What does very well mean?
It means that he would like to meet with he knew that when I brought this up that I wasn't the only one with these kinds of thoughts, so he would like to meet with us after sixth spell this evening.
All of us.
The three of us, yes, I'm assuming.
Oh, he doesn't miss a trick.
He does not. And I did not expect him to. So this is excellent. I am very optimistic.
Did he say what he wanted to talk to us about?
I asked him essentially if he thought that Count Ander might benefit from some more firm guidance from his council. And Master Barnabas agreed. He seems conflicted. He is, at his foundation, loyal to House Store. Um, he will not betray Count Ander. He will not let him come to harm, which is why I like this plan of the council stepping in a bit more firmly. I prefer that very much. Um, do any more aggressive alternatives.
I do as well.
Call nods. Also, we're in Ren's room, right?
Yes.
All right. Call has found Pier if Pier is out. I'm just putting that out in the world.
Okay. So should we go and try to make I was gonna talk to Captain Ryan since I know time is short, but should I wait until after our meeting with Barnabas tonight? Master Barnabas tonight?
If you're feeling confident, I think you should go with what you feel is right. Master Barnabas did say that he would like to help us find more support, or that he would like to gather support.
I'm inclined to suggest that if we're going to do any further communications today, that we focus on relationship building and utilize and wait until we have Master Barnabas's insight before doing something that we could eventually regret. So I would propose um, still speaking to the people with whom we mean to speak if we believe it would be helpful, but maybe focusing on relationship building.
I think that's a good thought. Um, my I think what I'll do today then is talk to some of the members of the city guard, and Henry says specific names of some of the men he's talked to and healed. He doesn't just say the city guard. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go talk to them and um, get a better idea of what Captain Ryan respects, and maybe try to sneakily gain some insight on how best to persuade him and what he thinks is valuable. And then I think I'm going to follow up on some of the posts on the bounty boards because I think that will also gain some favor with Captain Ryan if I'm helping lighten the load for his men um, by fully helping out.
I think he'd really respect that. I think that honestly, that is a good direction to take. So, that sounds like a wise plan. Uh, on my end, I have an agreement to meet with uh the Seneschal this evening for some more sparring. So I'm hoping to get the opportunity to speak to him in a little more, hopefully, privacy then. As long as I'm just hoping doesn't conflict with when we go to meet Master Barnabas.
We have something of a window for that. He said after sixth bell, so if we want, ideally, if we can meet with Master Barnabas earlier in the evening, then he might have a little bit more guidance for you when you approach the Seneschal.
Awesome. All right, that should work for me. Um, the Seneschal did say just evening. We didn't have a very specific window where we were planning on meeting, so I think it should be okay.
Well, do y'all want to come with me to look at the bounty boards, or do y'all have other plans for today?
I could do that. I also want to point out that we still need to continue our investigation on the light hands. Um, what would be best for that, just appearance's sake wise?
Well, I'm not even sure we should do just appearances. It might not be a bad idea to just legitimately continue the investigation. You did say uh, that you found out that the person identifying herself as Miss Aaron is a shapeshifter, right? Or at least is shapeshifting in some sense, right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it might not be a bad idea to see what we can learn about her. Where do those aliases normally appear? I tend to see the dwarven woman in the market district. Is that, a trait that she normally keeps in the market district? Does that appear other places? It might be worthwhile to see if we can pick up patterns or anything like that. Might even give us a clue as to her schedule.
I think that's really good. Even just building a schedule is a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you think so.
Mhm. Uh, how long does invisibility last?
1 hour.
Um, well, Call, would you want to, I mean, we have invisibility, so if we want one person to do this, to follow, to look into Miss Erin and do that schedule, they could be invisible for an hour, and then, I mean, between the two of us, it could be 2 hours.
Oh, so you want someone to cast invisibility on me and have me follow?
I think that might be a good idea. What do y'all think?
I am tempted. I would like to propose maybe a variation of that. Um, she is, for better or worse, intrigued with my path and my actions. I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile to attempt to get her attention, get her tailing me, and see if I can lose her long enough for someone to cast invisibility on me then.
Hmm.
And perhaps then I could follow her back to her base of operations where whenever she realizes she's lost the tail.
Hmm. Yeah,
I think that's a
that's a
very
good
good
idea.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call is feeling quite pleased that their ideas have been called good multiple times today.
I feel like this is the equivalent of us like petting Call and like scratching them behind the ears if Call
I,
was a cat.
yeah, honestly, Call is sitting here going, I have good ideas. I do good things. People saw me do cool things.
Also having a good morning.
Call's having a good morning, actually.
Call needed it after talking with Lord Commander Ryan. I
Oh
bet
my
that was just
god.
like a
That was so demoralizing. Call got their ass handed to them. It was not fun.
um okay, Ben, question for you. So Henry's a dwarf and thus recognizes dwarves, can differentiate different dwarves more easily than maybe other races, I would imagine. Um, would Henry know from the bounty board if because there's a dwarven woman, I think there's like a 500 gold reward for information about her. Um, so one, who was asking for information from that? And two, would Henry know that it was the same dwarven woman that is Miss Erin?
Um.
Like, was there a
So it's
description and
a.
that?
So that poster was a like posted by the city guard poster.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Uh. Who described? I mean, I guess both Ren and Call have seen this person.
Mm-hmm.
So either y'all can roll individually, or one of you can give the other advantage on a history check. Or no, well, what would that be? Being able to describe someone.
Investigation?
Would it be
Sure,
perception?
why the fuck not? Why not investigation? So, y'all want to roll independently, or somebody give the other advantage?
Ren will give Call advantage because of that sweet, sweet investigation.
Okay. It's a good thing that Call has advantage. Even with that, it's only an 18.
Okay.
Only.
Yeah, well, the first roll was a nat 1, my guy.
And then, Henry, give me a perception check, I guess.
Would it? Yeah, okay. 10.
Um,
What if it was insight instead?
no. Um, why would it be insight? You can't get
Because
insight off of a poster that was drawn.
I thought like insight from understanding how Call is gonna
So
describes Miss Erin.
they described. You are
Mm-hmm.
trying your best to remember what the drawn person on the poster looks like,
Okay.
and comparing the two. Uh, I would say there's enough for you to think maybe, but you are not sure.
Which hopefully Henry will see her today when we do the invisibility handoff. Um,
Excuse me.
He's been a sleepy man.
Hey, yeah. But I am more than capable of continuing for a while longer.
Excellent.
So, what's the plan right now?
I think the plan right now is to go ahead and do the light hands thing.
Alrighty.
yeah.
So I guess that means that since it's, after lunch now and we've all had a conversation, the plan is to do a similar kind of like patrol through the districts leading towards the half a mug. Um, Not necessarily. I think if they don't spot anyone before they get to half a mug, Call might check in with the others and see how close they want to get to it.
All right. Well, y'all are walking through the city. You know what that means? Everybody, give me a perception check.
Yeah! Live for that shit. 27.
15.
9.
Okay. Uh, with a 27, while going through. Hang on. Sorry, I have to make a roll. I gotta remember. I don't remember what dice I was using. There it is. Okay. With a 27, um, you pass through the market district. No flags there. But as you are entering the industrial district where the half a mug is, um, you uh, you do notice a group of kids kind of running around, uh, and then you realize one of them, a little dwarvish boy, kind of like stares at you for a second, and then like you like look away and then look back and you see him like sprinting to an alley.
Excellent.
That bodes well. Uh,
Okay. Um, I don't think I don't think Call's gonna do much. I think Call's just kind of gonna see how that turns out. Like, keep an eye out.
So y'all like stop and y'all stay in the area for a little bit.
Yeah, I think Call's gonna hover.
Okay. Then make go ahead and throw out another perception check then.
Perf. Oh my god, the cat is just staring at me. That would be a 22.
22.
Come here, sir.
Man. Stealth checks not going well. On for me over here. You see, like, once again, I mean, you're this is what you do. You're hanging out, keeping an eye on the crowd and such. And you see Kina, kind of. She's good at hiding, and she's doing a fairly poor job of it right now. But she's like watching y'all. This is all three of you, yes?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think if that's the case, Call might, like, from their waist, kind of shake their, like, hand still down, kind of shake their hand like that, like they're kind
Mm,
of waving at their own thigh. And that is the closest that Call will get to any kind of acknowledgement.
okay. Um. Okay. Okay. Um. After a bit, you realize that she has left that her little hiding spot. Um. Upon noticing that, do you hang around for a little bit longer, or are you moving on?
I think Call will move on at a steady pace to see if anyone starts following. Because if you hang around too much, no one's going to be moving with you.
Okay. Then I guess everybody can make another perception check as y'all start moving again.
27.
7.
6.
Um, Ren and Henry got caught up like doing something while y'all were hanging out and are distracted as y'all move on. um, but Call, you pick up on a tall, pale, long, dark-haired individual who seems to be following you. You do recognize that you have seen this person before. When you were in the market district, you saw this person and also the dwarf intermittently, like never both at the same time.
Okay. I think at that point, Call is probably going to tap Ren kind of on the arm with like as they're walking, kind of brush past and do like a quick little double tap as like a hey, now's probably the time. Um, I rolled to see which one call tapped, and try to. I guess I don't know what I assume this would be a stealth check, but try to like
Um.
pop out of line of sight just
Okay.
long enough to use invisibility.
Okay. So in that case, Ren's gonna be. Well, Ren's the one you got the attention of. So both Ren and Call give me a stealth check.
Okay.
And I gotta give a dice.
Can I give the help action to someone?
Call did not get your attention to do this.
That is true.
And I rolled very low on my perception check.
Ben got a 19.
18.
I've gotta go check my character stats. Oh wow, you're bad at that. Okay. Alright. Y'all do an okay job at sneaking around a corner, and I mean, you don't know if you were spotted or not.
Fair. I think at that point, Carl is going to tell Ren to basically just continue on as though their route has not changed. To just act like nothing's happened.
All right.
Sorry, did invisible though? You're invisible now or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ren casts invisibility and just tells Call, be careful.
All right.
Yeah. So they're going to proceed as if Call dipped off to go somewhere else, and that was totally expected. Like, hey guys, I'm gonna run past the pharmacy real quick. See you later.
Let's hold there for just a second. I've got to go to the bathroom so bad. I'll be right back.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Two things. Four things. One, love the blanket the yellow blanket on the bed
Thanks.
behind Ben. Love that. Two, holy shit, Jenny, you did an amazing job. What the fuck?
So good.
Three, I'm very excited for the way this is going. To like the sudden light hands element here is very exciting to me. And four, I think I did a really good job with Call. Like Call's little hero forge.
Yes. This is a fantastic session. Like, exemplary session. Just, I love this.
Especially after all the anxiety that we've all had about this.
Yes.
Oh my
Right?
gosh. This is going so well.
This is such a nice, like, comforting reemergence into the campaign. Like,
Yes.
I'm having a great time. I was still nervous going into this session. Like the conversation made me less nervous, but like I was still nervous, and now I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're all fucking crushing it. Henry's rolling like shit, but he hasn't done anything, so it's okay. But y'all two, so good. The way, I loved the way that the Ren's lead up to asking Barnabas about the will you join our crew? Like, so tactful, and I feel like it was exactly how Ren needed to ask.
I worked really hard on that. That went as well as I had hoped. Like, that was like ideal. And that's what I was hoping for when you guys were so nervous about, like, how the fuck do we do this? I was like, this is the inn. Barnabas is the inn. So, things are much better now. I feel like a band-aid has been ripped off.
Yes. I'm very happy. And I love, I was nervous about Sir Havish because it sounded like he was going to be like a cocky asshole, but I like that he's like a teacher, and even when he was getting his ass handed to him, he applauded. Like, he seems like a decent dude.
He does. He seems like a nice dude.
I also got pecans because pecans are awesome.
Are these your almonds?
Yes. I can't have almonds because I'll kill my wife.
Did you eat the ones that were on the counter earlier?
Yes.
Or did you throw them away?
I ate them.
We got like a little, like it was like a Lunchable, but it's like a little snack version they have now. It was like $2 that we got for Addie. And so I picked one out and I was gonna eat one and I opened the meat and I was about to just rip off the whole top and I realized the center portion was almonds and I was like, oh. So I opened half and I ate the meat and I opened the other half and I ate the cheese and then the center I was like, I'm just gonna leave this here.
And then she
And
was
then it
out.
was gone.
Then she was out of the house for a little while, and I was like, "Fuck it, almonds."
But thankfully, Ben's body doesn't hate him, and he doesn't sweat, and isn't hairy, and isn't all the things that Brennan Lee Mulligan
Oh.
said he was.
I was so confused as to what you were talking about.
Well, Bronwyn said, "Are those your
Yeah.
almonds?" Because
I didn't realize that you were returning to
Oh, yeah?
Brennan, and I was like, "Ben doesn't sweat and doesn't have hair." I'm like, "What? What? What?"
he
see,
does sweat.
For a moment, I thought Asher was describing his allergic reactions.
Same.
I was like, sweat hair.
He is a werewolf. It's a werewolf allergic reaction.
I know. I was like, okay, sweat. I could. Hair. You lost me.
Hey, but aren't werewolves just allergic to the moon?
Which is tragic. She's a lovely woman.
He is. Ben, do you have any food-based allergies?
Not that I know of.
I don't either.
Grapefruit.
I mean, I'm allergic to
I have
the
so many.
fucking air, but
Yeah.
I'm not allergic to anything anymore, bitches.
Any more?
Yes,
did you get
I grew out of an allergy.
nice?
I had a childhood hyper allergy to poison ivy. So anytime it pollinated in the spring, I would break out in full body poison ivy rashes because of the pollen. Which also meant that I got poison ivy rashes in places where no one should ever get poison ivy rashes, including the insides of my thighs and in between my fingers. Every single year through high school. So they got less and less bad, and by the time I was in college, they were gone entirely. But I had years where I literally couldn't close my hands because my fingers were so swollen up with poison ivy rash that I couldn't make a fist.
Gross.
So, yes. And I am no longer allergic like that.
I'm very happy for you, because that sounds awful.
Oh, it was atrocious. It was very bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Returning to the game. I have put these away so I'm not talking with my mouth full. So, Call goes invisible. Ren and Henry continue walking. Henry's a little confused, and then Ren sidles up back next to him and continues walking.
Perception check to see if Henry notices Call is missing.
Go for it.
15?
You notice that Call is missing.
Okay. I've just been rolling so poorly. I was like, I just have to check.
No, Ren just gives Henry a smile like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Henry acts like nothing happened.
That being said, I do want a perception check from the two of you. Actually, all three of you.
Cool.
9.
That is a 14.
24.
Okay. Well, I suppose I should be honest. It was a 14 from...
Ren, yeah.
From Ren.
This is the wrong character. What a feck. I'm clicking on different characters, and it's only opening Barnabas's character sheet.
Fascinating.
There we go. So, Ren, you just barely catch a glimpse of the figure that Call knew was following you. I don't think you. But you beat the DC, so you do notice the person that is still following y'all because y'all are still moving. Um. Uh. But yeah, so they are still following you. And Call, you spot them very well, and because of you because of a very good perception check, you can also make an insight check for me.
Fuck yeah. That was a low roll, my guy. My insight check is only an 8.
Okay. Um. Yeah, you can tell that the person is still following Henry and Ren, but um, you aren't like you're honestly not certain if they notice you're gone.
Okay. Well, Call is going to wait until she passes and then follow her.
Okay.
Kind of
Um,
keeping to the edges of buildings because invisibility, you don't want to be in the middle of a road and have people. Yeah.
okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check. I'm gonna say in a crowd, it's impossible for them to see you. Well, to see any tell of you. Um, so it's just gonna be like this is just if they hear you, and therefore the DC is done accordingly.
Okay. A 12.
Okay. Um. So yeah. Y'all are in a little train now.
Love that. Okay. So, I guess where are y'all headed? And we'll go from there.
Where are Henry and Ren going?
Um, I figure
We
do we
could just
want to head towards the industrial district at all? Or just kind of stay around the market area?
So y'all are actually just barely in the industrial district already.
Gotcha. Okay.
Y'all's the first sighting y'all had of anything suspicious was in the industrial district.
there on the bounty board, one of the things was there's weird noises in the industrial district by a warehouse. So we could go check that out if we're wanting to like do something. If not, then we could like just kind of walk around as if we're just strolling aimlessly.
I
What
think looking like we're doing something with a purpose would be good, so I think the bounty board idea would be good.
Alrighty. Um, so the easiest way to the warehouses would take you, along the main road, and you would go past the Half a Mug Tavern. Would y'all intentionally avoid that, or would you just walk past it?
I think
we
we
could
could
just
walk past it.
yeah, just walk past it, not really look at it or pay any mind to it.
Specifically, Henry, I need a perception check, please.
Oh God, okay. Fucking Christ, 8.
All right, moving on. Um, Have you been using the same dice, or are you alternating?
No,
Okay.
I'm alternating. I was using the Nandel one for a little bit, and then while we were like after I rolled my last check, I rolled it 5 or 6 times. It was all below a 13.
Hmm.
Most of it single digits. So then I switched to my Bennett die, and I got a 6. I switched to my Bennett die. I got a 19 on a not anything roll, and I just got a 6 for this check.
All right. Well, y'all continue on. Every once in a while, Ren is able to make out the same individual following y'all until you pass the half a mug, at which point Henry's perception is going to roll over, but the other two of you as well. Perception, please.
Another 14.
28.
Ren, you lose sight of the person following you. Call, you notice them go into the half mug.
Carl is going to, I guess, perception check to see if it would be easy enough to go in without being spotted. Like, is the door opening and closing a lot, or etc., or would it be better to just hang out by a window?
So, y'all got lunch before heading this way. So the half a meg is nowhere near as busy as it is when y'all come during meal times. Like, it's pretty dead, honestly. However, the door is propped open.
Oh, if the door's propped open, Carl's gonna try and slip in and just kind of, hover. Is the door in a corner?
It's just like basically dead center on the wall facing the road.
Okay, well, in that case, either way, Call is going to, at least until they get their bearings of the space at the moment, Call's going to walk in and immediately hug the inside of the door because no one ever steps at that point in the door.
All right. Give me a stealth check, we'll say with advantage because you are invisible.
Okay. $21.
21. Okay. So, as you go in, something that you haven't seen before is something. A couple things. You notice there's music, which there usually isn't. It's usually just bustling and packed with people when y'all have been here. But right now there's music. As you come in the door, you tucked to one side. The other side of the door, and then if you continue to the corner of the room there is a rather short hair and gone man playing a drum. He's going pretty soft with it. Like, he's not trying to make anyone go deaf. But he's playing. It honestly looks pretty funny because he, as described previously, although not something you particularly have seen, there are 2 bar stools that have been dragged from the bar. He is on his back on one of them, kind of slowly singing this kind of mournful, like, missing my lover type song. As he's laying on his back on this stool, playing the drum with his feet. But yeah, he's just slow. It's a slow ballad that's not, and he's not singing or playing very loudly. Other than him, there are the usual Ergenazi and half elf at the bar. Once again, the half elf is working on something that from time to time pieces of it will float as the half elf examines them. The half orc at the bar is by no means ignoring the other one person at the bar drinking, but spends most of his time talking to the two that take up that little space at the end of the bar. There is one dwarf who you do recognize to be. I named him. And I told y'all his name. Derek. Which is one of the dwarves that you have seen. You saw him immediately after the ghost fight. He was one of the two dwarves that came to retrieve the little metal disc thing.
Okay.
And he has been spotted by members of your party at other points in time. Enough that y'all heard his name. And actually, I think you heard his name from Kina. I believe Kina said that he got his ass handed to him for something or another.
Yeah.
And also, you see Miss Erin sitting at her normal table, and she is watching the door, like she is very noticeably watching the door, seems to be waiting for someone to come in, or expecting someone to come in.
Call is going to, in that case, not move. Call's not going to run the risk of attracting her attention when she's already paying attention to where they're standing. So they're gonna just kind of hang tight and just for a little bit and kind of see how everything plays out. Call's going to keep the majority of their attention on Miss Erin, but I think there's not a lot of people in the room. I think Call's also going to be kind of scoping out what everyone's doing.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check then.
Can do. That, my friend, is a nat 20.
Okay. Well, you see the Harengon Bard looks a little bored. With a nat 20, you can see that the little hat that he has a loot case open in front of his little setup. You also see his loot is sitting in the corner behind him, but the case is open, and there's almost nothing in it. You would assume that from the crowd that's normally in here, he would have gotten a lot more than what's there. And fucking nat 20s. So you gather from that, you think he actually came in here after lunch. You don't think that people here were stingy. You think that he just hasn't been playing long enough to have seen the crowd.
Gotcha.
Which at this point has only been almost an hour. So he probably has not been here very long at all. You notice that the Ergenazi looks way more relaxed, although they've always looked fucking relaxed. They've always looked completely at home on their stool. From time to time, standing on the stool, crouched down, and you've seen them never looking, anxious about themselves. But with a nat 20, you can look at them and realize, okay, so the other times I've seen them, they look around pretty often. They, it looks like their head's on a swivel. But right now, they just seem to be paying attention to what the half-elf is doing. They're not contributing, but they're just kind of paying attention to that and shooting the shit with the half-orc bartender.
Okay.
The dwarf is just, he is sitting there nursing a drink. You've noticed that he's kind of favoring his left side. And then Miss Erin, paying attention to the door, very occasionally and quickly will look behind them to kind of around a corner that you can't quite see. But they keep checking that as well, spending way less attention on whatever that is than the door. And also, you notice that the gnomish woman who works here, you don't see her anywhere.
Interesting. Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, Call is gonna Call's basically just going to see what they can learn before they have to dip for time purposes for the spell.
Okay.
So yeah, Call is going to stay for like as long as they can, and probably at about the point where they have about 5 minutes left, that's when they're going to aim to leave so they can get a little ways from the half a mug before the spell runs out.
Okay. So you don't have a watch, and you wouldn't feel the spell coming to an end.
Correct.
Ren would, but you would not. So go ahead and give me just an intelligence check.
God, I hope it works. Ha! No, it does not. It's a 6.
All right.
Inspiration? Do you have inspiration?
I do have inspiration. And I should probably use it right now, probably.
Are you
Whatever
gonna?
you think.
You're trying to ballpark, 5 minutes less than an hour.
Well, but it also trying to figure out how long it's already been. And of course you're not gonna metagame enough to tell me how dramatic this consequence might be if I fail. Annie, what do you think? Should I waste my inspiration on this or accept the consequences?
Most of me is worried enough about Call that, like, I'd say use the inspiration point. Part of me is fascinated by what would happen if you don't.
See, that's my problem too, is that I'm like, I don't want Call to get in egregious trouble about this. I don't want this to go horribly wrong. We have places to be this evening. We have a schedule.
We have a schedule.
We have plans.
What are you doing?
Okay. Okay. We were already just in the industrial district when the spell took place, from my understanding. So it has not been very long in the spell. So Call at least can know that with a level of certainty. So I think in that case, I'm going to accept the consequences of the roll, and Call might just have to call it early, earlier than they think would be a thing, and then just probably keep checking, like, probably just kind of like dip as early as they get nervous. Paul's
Okay.
gonna accept the consequences of not knowing how long it's going to be and just try to play it safe.
Okay.
We'll see how badly this goes.
So as you're waiting for a little while, not long after you get in there, someone comes from where Miss Erin keeps looking, It's a gnomish man, and he leans in real close to her, and she like whispers in his ear, and then he comes towards you and goes out the front door.
Okay. And I assume I'm too far away to have heard what they whispered?
Yeah, you're too far away. There's limits even on nat 20s.
Yeah, that's
No,
fine.
no, sorry. I meant I'm not going to let you roll for it because I don't think that there is a situation where you can succeed. I'm not saying that. Yeah, continue.
Okay. I'm fine with the answer being no, you didn't hear it. I just wanted to confirm.
But I have to over-explain everything always.
Okay. Okay. All right. In that case, you said waiting for a little while. Call's gonna give it a few more minutes. And then, if nothing happens, I think what Call's going to do at that point is try to slip out from the open door and move towards a window. So if if the end of the spell catches them off guard, the chance is not as great of getting massively fucked over.
All right. There is one window in the building.
Where is it?
So you can come in the front door. Directly across from you is the bar, like in the back left
Yes.
corner.
Yeah.
To your left, in that corner, is where the bard is playing. Between, halfway between those two is the window.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be Call's course of action. Call's going to wait for a few more minutes, and if nothing seems to happen, Call's going to head towards the window.
All right. So you, easy enough. You're invisible. Slip out. Roll me a stealth check. Don't get a nat 1. That's all I'll say.
Let's see, now the dice have heard you. I did not get a nat 1. I got a raw 18, which would be a 22.
Yeah, many stealths. Okay. So you make your way to the window. No one reacts in any way to your movement. And you wait. You're gonna wait there until you think the spell is about to fade.
What is the view of the window? Like, how obvious is the window from, like, the street or the alleyway or anything?
So you're in the alley. And I mean it's like the main street through the city that the half a mug is on. So like it's just a straight shot from the road.
Okay. Yeah, I think Call's going to do, like, at that point, stick with the original plan, and, yeah, when there's about 5 minutes left, when they think there's about 5 minutes left, they're going to try and dip at that point.
All right. We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Because you were right. There was a long time left on the spell when you did this. So, Henry and Ren, give me a perception check as y'all are continuing on.
12.
Is a 15.
12 and 15? Okay. So y'all did not notice previously when you lost your tail. However, after traveling for a few more minutes, you take another look around and you do realize that your tail is no longer the tail that was on you is no longer. However, you do notice a gnomish man
Hmm.
following you.
Hmm.
You got a 12, right, Ash?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both notice then.
Cool. I think Henry would be talking to Ren, but nothing of consequence, just total like, yes, I was talking to my friend the other day, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, y'all continue to the warehouse that was reported.
Mhm.
Alrighty. Um, all right. Well, because I can't stop making y'all roll perception checks, go ahead and give me another one.
We live for it, Ben.
That one's a nat 20.
13.
Um, y'all both are able to tell that nat 20 will carry over to something else because we reward nat 20s. But y'all both are able, like, y'all see the gnomish man turn around and stop following
Hmm.
you.
When?
As y'all are approaching, like, you're walking down the road and you start seeing warehouses where like the road is just lined in warehouses now. It's still technically the industrial district, but some people tend to call this the warehouse block. Where just and y'all have been here before. This is where y'all fought. Y'all are in the general area that y'all fought the cultists before leaving to go to Steelwood Forest very early on in the campaign. And so once y'all pass into the warehouses, he books it. And you approach where the noises were heard, and you come to a warehouse that has a little for rent sign out in front. There are notably like at most of the warehouses there will be like carts, or in a lot of cases there are guards and such stationed. This one, there's no one stationed. There's no carts. It's just the warehouse, and there's a building number to go to like rent the warehouse.
Um, cool. I guess we go up and try the door to see if it's unlocked.
Okay. It is unlocked.
What exactly did the board posting say?
Henry.
I mean, I have what you wrote, but I don't know if that's
You, what I wrote is what you saw.
okay. It's in the gameplay side chat.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, weird noises in the industrial district by a warehouse. That's all
Okay,
it
so
says.
it is a little more specific in that it
Okay.
says this warehouse.
Okay. Um,
Just weird noises.
yep.
Okay. Well, I guess we are going to listen for some weird noises.
Are there any people walking around? I know it's like work day and people are probably inside other warehouses, but
Did I not say that it was late at night that the noises were heard? Was that not on?
nope.
Okay, so I guess I will change what. Okay, odd noises reported in the industrial district near the warehouses late at night. It does specify this warehouse, but it does say late. It did say late at night.
So I guess we can do a sweep of it, even though we don't hear the noises.
Yeah. I think um I think going inside and taking a look around would be a good idea. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
Um, what kind of warehouse is this? Like, is it vacant? What kind of stuff does it have in it, if any?
Um, so you go up to the door. It is unlocked. As you go in, there are some empty crates, but there doesn't seem to be anything actively stored here. And now, if y'all are going to be looking around, I would need investigation checks.
Sorry, before we go in, are there people walking around?
Some, yes. And like I said, there are guards posted at some of the warehouses.
Before we go in, I think Henry says, should we like ask around to see if anybody knows anything more about the noises? I mean, it's not like it's a secret. This is posted on the bounty board.
It hadn't even occurred to Ren to ask other people. Um, if you think that's a good idea, um, let's do it.
All right. So I think Henry goes up to the closest person who doesn't look like they're actively like on a mission to get somewhere. Um, and oh, sorry. Um, says something to the effect of hi, tells them his name and says, I heard that there were some strange noises around this warehouse. Do you know anything about that?
Um, because you specifically said a person not in a hurry, I won't play the gag of someone just yelling "fuck off" and leave and walking away from you. Um, but you do find someone who has like a little ledger that they're carrying around, but they're kind of dawdling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dwarvish man. And he looks at you and says, "Oh," and he like looks up at the warehouse that he is now in front of and seems kind of surprised that he's there. Um, and he says, "Oh, well, yeah, nobody rents this one. They said there was issues with some of the last couple of people that stored here. Um, the guy who owns it, his other, uh, well, the guy who owns it kind of has a bad reputation of not keeping his warehouse protected well enough, which is honestly insane in this city because all of the regulations that are in place here. So yeah, he hasn't. I don't think it's been rented in the past month.
Hmm. Does he own any other warehouses, the owner?
He does. They're a bit further down, closer to the gate. Honestly, they're really good spots, but still, he gets less business than most because, like I said, bad reputation, stuff getting stolen.
Hmm. All right. Well, do you, since it's empty, like, have you heard of anything? Has anybody been using it without renting it? Like, have you heard anything about like weird noises or anything happening here?
Oh yeah. I mean, late at night, there's loud scratching noises. I mean, honestly, it's enough to make you not want to go near it.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes even the guards of the other nearby warehouses get skittish about it and will uh, patrol the far sides of their watches.
Hmm. And nobody really cares, right? Because I mean, yeah, no one's stuff is in
I
there.
mean, it's an empty warehouse.
Yeah.
If somebody who wants
All
to
right.
care, it should be the owner.
Yeah, which obviously they don't. Um, all right, well, I appreciate the help.
Oh, yeah, of
Thank you.
course. And he
Yeah.
immediately becomes invested in his ledger again. and kind of slowly walks away.
Ren is eager to go check out the warehouse and look for scratch marks.
Yes, we go.
All right.
Also, do have to do a time check. We might need to find a stopping point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, honestly, we are only going to get further from one of those, so let's go ahead and call it here.
Okay.
And next time we can investigate the warehouse. Dun dun dun.
I just, for my very first D&D campaign, one of the very first inside jokes of it, I don't even remember where it started, but one of the first inside jokes was just investigate that sound. And so this comes to mind.
Oh, I like that.
Nostalgia for 15-year-old Jenny.
Oh,
All right.
baby Jenny.
We did good, guys.
Yeah, we did so good.
All right. We're going to say toodaloo to the live viewers probably next Thursday, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe,
Yep.
probably, definitely not sure, but it's possible that we will be streaming again Thursday. Bye to the live audience.